Rooted and Rising family, welcome in. Take a deep breath. My most favorite part of the reading. It really is. Settle yourself and just ease into the message. I always pause there because I listen for my dog. Because normally, like right around the time I say something like that, he makes some type of noise, and he did. He's just smacking his lips. But I want to let you know, so I didn't show the cards today on the screen as I am going to begin to do. I started to do, but I'll resume doing. But I just want to let you know the tarot cards used today are from the Luna edition, the Ethereal Visions Tarot deck, the Luna edition. And this edition includes like additional bonus cards to the tarot, that are unique to that deck, just to let you know. And one of those bonus cards did indeed get pulled for this reading. I'm excited. So we'll be working with that energy as well, okay? So as always, please take what resonates, leave what does not. Every part of this message is not for everybody. And when I speak of masculine and feminine, I am talking of energies, not gender. An example would be the card, the Empress. It's a feminine energy, but it does not mean that we are talking about a female specifically, right? Okay, so this message is building directly on what we just talked about. The movement that has already started, the communication that has already begun between the divine connection, something real beginning to form. And you can consider this kind of like a bonus message to that, like a little insert, right? So naturally, we're going to look at what happens when something outside of that connection tries to interfere with it, right? I was gonna say something, but I'm not, because I think social media may find that inappropriate, and it may, ding me there. The blockers, let's call them that. All right, so this is the energy of someone from the past, or someone who never fully let go, or someone who still wants access, right, to your divine connection, trying to step into something that is no longer theirs, or either was not theirs in the first place. Let's walk through it, okay? We start off with the King of Swords in reverse, right? This is distorted thinking and manipulative communication. So the King of Swords in the upright position, or the upright form, is someone who speaks with honesty and stands in mental authority, right? We've reached the position of the king, right? But reversed, the energy becomes distorted. Again, we know that the swords is our air energy. It is also dealing with the mental, the mind, right? So that's where we get where the King of Swords in the upright position will naturally stand for honesty and like mental authority. But again, reverse, it becomes distorted. This is someone who twists the truth, right? Those half truths. They communicate in a cold and or calculated way, right? It may not be cold, but very calculated. Or they try to control situations through words rather than honesty. That's the manipulation. And what Spirit is showing is this is an energy as an interfering person, right? This is not someone that's coming from a grounded, truthful place, honest place either, right? This is someone who may try to insert themselves through conversation, create outside confusion through what they say, what does our mouth do? Slander, lies, rumors, gossip, right? Again, insert themselves through conversation, create confusion in what they say, or manipulate how things are perceived, maybe even how you're perceived, right? Maybe they want to distort how you're perceived by your divine counterpart, right? And when we layer in the toxic traits, remember I also used, aside from the tarot, some oracle decks, right? I pulled from the Toxic Relationship Oracle deck. I like to show them, but the box itself is a little bit. So I pulled from this deck, Toxic Relationship Oracle deck. All right, and what we got there, or what this card is, one of them, disrespect. All right, the card says disrespect. So that particular deck deals with toxic relationship traits. So this is what, that person is kind of giving: disrespect, coercion, shaming your interests. There may be some things that you were dealing with if this person is your ex, whether, ex-partner in some way, whether wife or girlfriend or whatever, situationship, whatever, or somebody who just wanted to be and never was, right? We do have some of those out there, right? But anyway, so Toxic Relationship Oracle deck, disrespect, coercion, shaming your interests. This paints the full picture. This is someone who did not respect boundaries before, so why would they respect them afterwards, right? Or try to pressure or control situations. King of Swords in reverse would be through the mouth. Gossip, manipulation, playing mind games, right? Being very strategic in what they say because they want to control the outcome, right? So anyway, yeah, they didn't respect boundaries before. They tried to pressure or control situations and may have made the divine counterpart feel small for being themselves, right? That's a way to make you feel insignificant, and it makes them feel significant, right? So now, as this new connection begins to form, that's you rooted in rising family, your connection, whether you be the divine feminine or divine masculine in the situation, they may be trying to re-enter through communication. Because remember, initially, we had all of the internal feelings and things we were talking about 2 readings ago. The last reading is when things began to, come out into the physical and begin to shape, begin to form. It's very new. And now, since we have it actually coming out, now, we get somebody trying to interfere, okay? When this thing is like, oh my God, it's really happening. So likely this is the person who's been just watching all along. They've just been watching. And since it was internal or emotional, they were on guard, watching, evaluating, planning. Very 7 of Pentacles type energy, just evaluating, taking it in. How big of a threat is this person? Is it this looking like this may be a fling, somebody you slip around with and you're done, or is this person capable of longevity, right? Likely they've noticed that you, rooted in rising, our divine feminine, our divine masculine, you were never the type to be fleeting. They recognize instantly that you were that 10 of Pentacle energy, that legacy energy, long lasting, someone to build with, right? So they've likely been watching you for a while. All right, watching, calculate. This is a calculative person. This is not a person who's going to be ruled by their emotions and call you up on the phone. What's that old song where she's calling her? She's calling her to her man. No, this is not that energy. This is very be quiet and let me think this thing through. How can I interfere but quietly? How can I maybe regain control of this situation? And how can I do it quietly? Because this is not a person who wants a big show about it. They'd rather be sneaky with it. And so the better way to do that is to what? Still try to control your divine counterpart, because they may have some still emotional entanglement in there. So we'd rather play some games that way. It's a little easier to do that. It's quieter, and then they don't have to risk just straight up coming out with the fact that they've been watching you for some time and keeping an eye on you for some time. And now that they see it's come out into the physical, they don't have to, say, hey, they don't have to deal with you saying, hey, Shirley gave me a call the other day on my phone playing games about you. They don't want to risk that. It's a lot easier to just zip it up and then play mind games. Because if this is a previous connection, then they're pretty savvy in what buttons to push with your divine counterpart, right? They already know that. So, who better to play games with? All right, well, I'll move on from that though. But anyway, this is still, so now as this new connection begins to form, they may try to re-enter through communication, right? But the energy is still the same. That King, of Swords in reverse, distorted, manipulative, trying to regain control in the situation, playing mind games, all right? Unclear, unbalanced. They're not dealing with a full deck and not aligned with truth. I don't mean loony crazy. I mean strategic crazy, all right? That's a different kind of crazy. So that's the not dealing with a full deck I'm talking about. I'm not talking about acting a fool and busting windows up in here. I'm talking about strategic long run games. All right, those are the ones you watch out for. Four of Wands in reversed is our next card, right? Instability around what should be a foundation. We know Four of Wands we'll talk about it's like a family card. So the Four of Wands represents stability, home, celebration, right? In a solid foundation, especially in relationships. Reversed, and that's how we know we're talking about the prior situation. Reverse, it shows a disruption in that stability. Spirit is showing that this outside energy is attempting to disturb the foundation of what is just beginning to form. They were once the foundation. They're flipped upside down. That's been broken. Now a new foundation is beginning to form, and we've got the unstable foundation trying to reverse it, right? So this isn't... Again, the divine connection isn't necessarily that something that's fully built yet. This is like beginning stage energy. It's something that is still, again, in its early stages of becoming stable, because the Four of Wands in the upright represents stability, and we've got the Four of Wands in the reverse trying to make you reversed, if that makes sense, right? By being a disturbance, a nuisance. All right. That's exactly why interference is showing up here, because it's easier to shake something that is just beginning. It's easy to shake up something that's just beginning, right? As opposed to something that's fully established. What does the Bible say? The house divided against itself cannot stand. So they're like, okay, well, this just went from emotions inside to external. They just started to talk. They just started. They're not on a firm foundation. I believe I still have some hold on this person's emotions. Let me go 1, 2, 3, and let me see how I can disrupt what's going on here. All right, let me see how I can pull my ex, or the one that I wanted and never wanted me, because they may not even be an ex, pull them back in my direction. All right. And if I can't pull them back on my direction, well, at least I disrupted what they've got going on. You got some people just miserable, child, just can't get on with stuff, child. If you don't want me, you don't want me. I mean, I'm not, it's too much energy to fight for you. I'm not saying that I won't be heartbroken and I won't cry, but I damn sure will get over you, okay? My life will not stop for you. Life has shown me that life don't stop for nobody. So I will be mourning, and I'm going to get right on over you. I'm not crying and busting windows and calling and watching nobody. That is too much extraness. That's too much energy. I just can't. I can't do it. If you don't want me, you don't want me. If you want to go with a fantastic, if you don't want me, then don't talk to me. I mean, that energy. Just go ahead and free yourself. Go ahead and free yourself. Free yourself from me if you don't want me. Bye. I mean, I'll cry. I'll get over you. And my life will move on. I'm just saying. Not cold. I will hurt. But I am not going. If you're looking for me to hold on to you and call you and say, come back, I love you, and stalk your new boo, you've got the wrong girl. I don't care. If you just want to go, go. Ain't nothing. If you have made your mind up to go, there is nothing I'm going to do to convince you to stay. You may decide later on, I missed out on a good thing by what's out here. It's not much out here. By what's out here, and you decide you want to, spin the block. But, then that would be my choice. But, 9 times out of 10, for me, it's going to be, no, you're not spinning the block or anything. You wanted to leave. That was your choice. But anyway, I don't know how I got off on that. Oh, yeah, because of this. If you don't want me, then you don't want me. I'm not chasing you. I'm not doing that. It's too much energy. Too much energy that could be used on getting over you and moving on with my life. I just can't. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. But anyway, their goal is to break up something that is just starting, because it's easier to do it by playing mind games with the divine counterpart, because this is new and because they know this person. They already know 1, 2, 3, boop, did it, right? It's like siblings. You know what buttons to push. You know, I'm a little sister, so I know when I go to my older sister, did it. She's a Taurus. I get that full bull. And I take so much joy in doing it too. I'm sorry. All little sisters do. But anyway, I'll move on from that. I'm sorry. Again, they want to shake up something that's just beginning. And this is just beginning. Per the last reading, this is just new energy. So what this could feel like is unexpected tension showing up, right? Everything was cool, everything was fine. The energy was joyful, merriment, 3 of Cups energy, and then you feel tension. Maybe the divine counterpart feeling like they're kind of, standoffish a bit. Outside opinions or presence being inserted. Again, if you're dealing with an ex, the ex is going to know what the friends, the families. You may all of a sudden have all these opinions that were not there, right? Okay, where did it come from? Or moments where the connection feels slightly unsettled due to external influence. The King of Swords in reverse energy, right? The distorted communication in attempts to control the ear of the divine counterpart to stop moving physically in this connection, right? Right. All right. And we have another, this one we have a card from the Unspoken Truth Oracle deck. This is how the box looks. These are very interesting cards. Pull them. Oh my gosh. So what is this person's unspoken truth? I mean, what they want to say, but have not, or cannot. So it's hard to tell people the truth. Your feelings. This is a good deck for that. Anyway, so that's where that's coming from. Unspoken Truth Oracle deck. Do you ever think of me too? Right? This is the 4 of Wands in reverse energy saying, do you ever think of me too? Right? To the divine counterpart, yours. Or to either be their ex or somebody who just wanted them and your ex never picked them, right? So this shows the underlying energy of that person holding on, in a sense. Do you ever think of me too, right? Do you ever remember what it was? Do you still have emotions for me? Don't you remember how good things used to be, right? That's the energy of that person. They're not grounded in acceptance that this person, their divine, your divine counterpart, their ex, or their never was, either never wanted them in that manner or has moved on, right? They're not in acceptance of that. They are still looking back, still reaching, still hoping for emotional access, hence the King of Swords in reverse, and hence the 4 of Wands also in reverse showing. So their energy creates instability, 4 of Wands in reverse, right? Not because the connection itself is unstable, that's your connection, not because your connection is unstable, but because they're trying to reattach to something that is no longer theirs, and quite frankly, no longer wants them in the same way, right? Instead of just letting go, mourning, healing, and moving on, all right? Which no one says is easy, because it's not, but it's necessary. You can't, if people don't want you, they don't want you. I mean, I'm not trying to say I ain't been stupid before. I've been stupid plenty of times, but after being dumb enough times, you're like, okay, Look, I am going to tell myself a little bit. Just so you can relate that I have not always been wise and mature, okay? In my younger years, very fiery, very crazy. Yeah. I'm going to throw clothes out the window. Yeah, all of the crazy things. But I'm an emotional person, so I'm like, what you did what? Oh, this girl's calling my phone again, you bastard. All your clothes are over the balcony. All of your shit. Take it all and get out. 10 minutes later, all your shit is right back in that closet, right, ladies? Because it's just stupid. Yeah, been there, done that. I've been stupid enough times. All right, it's not easy, especially when emotions are involved. If you've had a long-standing relationship and the type of connection you used to have, it's not an easy thing to get over. And just because you're not wanted in that way anymore, it doesn't mean that, the person either never loved you or still doesn't, have a fondness for you, but it means in that capacity, it's over. And it just is what it is. You can do fussing, screaming, fighting, peace calculating. You can do all that you want to do. And you are doing nothing but prolonging whatever you were supposed to learn from that situation and gain in wisdom, because you can always learn even if it doesn't work out. What did you learn from it? Heal, grow, and move on. So you don't carry it to the next connection if you choose to have another connection. Okay? So crazy has happened in my life. And now wisdom is replacing it. But you have to be a person who wants wisdom over crazy, right? You have to at some point say, this is enough is enough. And you have to actually want to grow. It doesn't just, appear in, you have to hold on to it, grab on to some wisdom, and I mean, sometimes listening to other people who are wise. Okay, we'll move on from that. They're trying to reattach to something that is no longer theirs in that capacity, right? So we move on. We've got a lot from this deck, a lot of disruption, a lot of reverse, and then we have the Tower. We know about the Tower. Whoo, that good old Tower. That Tower. That card. Boy, you see that card, it's like, oh Lord. The Tower usually is sudden change, disruption, right? Things falling up. That's all hell breaking loose in your life. Things falling apart. But all right, so we have the Tower, the disruption that exposes everything. Again, the Tower represents sudden change, disruption, or moments that shake everything into truth. And not all Tower moments are like massive moments. Some are just like, a realization, like, oh, I got it. Oh, wow. Oh, I get it. That's a Tower moment. That is why they said that on such and such a day. Oh, I get it. Or something you see in a person and you realize, oh, I got it. Some are like that, little baby Tower. So not a total disruption. But in this case, we're not talking about that, right? So the Tower again represents sudden change, disruption, and moments that shake everything into truth. But here, this is not destruction of the divine connection, not you, rooted in rising family. This is the collapse of illusion around the interfering energy, all right? They tried, but it does not, there's nothing they can do. This is a divine connection, and you can't disrupt something that is divinely put together. All right, you just can't. So here, this is not destruction of the divine connection rooted in rising, but collapse of the illusion around the interfering energy. This is where something becomes very clear very quickly. This is where, or this could involve as, or it could look like, the true nature of that person being revealed again. So in their King of Swords in reverse energy, these mind games and manipulation through the mouth, because you know sword energy is not just mental, it has to do with communication. But yeah, so in this distorted energy, in the attempts, of course, to distort and disrupt, they're in the Four of Wands in reverse, instability in the home, in what was, and that's what they want to cause in yours. They want to put your connection into the Four of Wands in reverse. And in doing that and displaying those behaviors and those games and attempts to control through the mouth, whether that be rumors, lies, or manipulation, mind games, all kinds of things, getting friends and family to work against, all of the things that they are attempting to do, it doesn't work out. All right? It doesn't work out. It comes to nothing. Oh, Lord. Nothing wrong with the little Bible. You can believe what you want to believe. You can take wisdom from, different sources. So it's kind of like for those who do believe in the Bible, or those who just reference the Bible as a book, or those who use, like in hoodoo, you'll use the Bible verses for different things, different rituals and stuff in hoodoo. What does the Bible tell us? No weapon formed against us shall prosper. This is that energy, right? So this is the kind of moment where someone says, yeah, nothing about that has changed, right? As in, all the stuff they did, it didn't disrupt or dismantle. It didn't cause a tower in your connection. It's just caused a tower with them. It helped reveal more of their true nature, that deep down, this is who they always were. No matter what they were in the connection, when, no matter what they were, this is revealing who they actually are. We all know people put on masks. You go to work and you are not the same person at work that you are at home. And, I have to speak to me, in Black culture, we code switch. So, we're not speaking the same way in the office as we are speaking to our children. We say, sit down somewhere. And I meant you should sit your ass down somewhere. When we out in the environment, we go, honey, have a seat. We're not going to sit your ass down now. We don't normally do that. We do that at home, right? But if we're out in public, it is what it is. We can go into that, but we don't need to. But out in public, you're saying, honey, have a seat. And then you give them that look like, please don't make me bring that energy into this establishment. I'm like, that's what you do. But anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, this is just revealing more of their true nature, of who they were in the first place, instead of who they presented themselves to be in the connection, which likely, since it ended, their true nature likely came out anyway. You can only be fake for so long before the real you shows itself. And all of this did, and all these games, is just showed more of who they actually were and not who they presented themselves as. Okay, so that's the tower moment, is them realizing this ain't working. All right, they tried to dismantle and disrupt, but all it did was dismantle and disrupt their situation even more. All right, again, we bring in the unspoken truth. Remember, that's this deck. There are no real secrets in this world. All right, this confirms that nothing is hidden here. So whatever this person is trying to do, whatever their unhealthy intentions are, it becomes visible. It's seen. All right, it's not hidden. And the tower here clears the confusion. All right, it says, let me show you. It's almost like the divine stepping in and saying, let me show you clearly what this person is trying to do. Don't listen to this nonsense. Or when you hear the nonsense, discernment, or everything kicks in, like, that's a lie, right? It clears confusion. All right, so it doesn't destroy the connection. The tower does not. It exposes what doesn't belong in it, more so who doesn't belong. All right. And then we move on to the Empress. This is the connection remains grounded and untouched, rooted and rising. The Empress represents nurturing growth, divine feminine energy, and something that is naturally abundant and aligned. So this is the energy of the connection itself, rooted and rising, your connection, right? The one that can't be dismantled. The whole no weapon formed against me shall prosper connection, that kind of thing, right? This yeah, I'm about to say, yeah, you've got that real Psalms 91 protection around this thing. But this is the energy of the connection itself. And what Spirit is making very clear here is that the interference does not change the nature of what is being built between you two, okay? The Empress does not chase. The Empress does not compete. The Empress does not shrink. All right, so all of this going on, you are still in Empress energy. Again, we're talking about energy. We're not talking about, if you can hear my dog snoring, energy and not female, male. It is just saying that you are remaining who you are, whether you are male or female or, you know, whatever. You're remaining who you are. You're not acting a fool, cursing nobody out, chasing nobody down. You're in very, if that's what you want to believe in energy and remaining who you are, right? And your divine counterpart sees through all the nonsense, as everything is just, all of their games is just being revealed of the interferer. Everything that they're trying to do unravels. It just shows more and more who they really are, their true nature, right? So while interference may exist, it does not disrupt the essence of this divine connection. It remains grounded, nurtured, and most of all, aligned, right? Now here's our bonus card from the Luna. I'm going to bring it over here. From the Ethereal Visions Tarot. This is the Luna edition. Isn't it pretty? The cards are pretty too. I'm just gonna take one out. Let me see. It's so pretty. And this, I love shiny. I'm such a girl. I love shiny things. I do though. I love shiny and sparkly things. Just so shiny and sparkly. Look at this, so sparkly. That's just one of them. I was trying to find the one that we were using. I don't know. But anyway, that's how they look. All right, that's how they look. So anyway, we have the Well, and again, from this particular deck, that edition, the Luna, that edition has bonus cards, and we got the Well, W-E-L-L. All right, the connection that continues to grow from within. All right, I wonder if I should do that. Let me read it, because you know the Well is not. I you know, have a meaning, but I wanted you to see their meaning of it, because it's not in the traditional deck. It is only in this edition. So even if you're a seasoned tarot reader, you probably can guess it because it's called the Well, but you may not know the meaning of it. So the Well, this is, you know, from their description. Astrological correlation, Gaia. For those who are familiar, you know Gaia, Mother Earth. The Well is the birthplace of ideas, inspiration, and transformation. All things are birthed from this creatrix, whose knowledge flows freely to those who seek it. And in the upright position, which is what we pulled it in, nurturing. See how it pairs well with the Empress? Opportunity, nature, creativity. It's like it goes hand in hand with the Empress. It's beautiful. In reverse, it means destruction, endings, cold, stagnant. I'm only reading it because, again, even if you're a seasoned tarot user, this is a bonus card, so you will just know what it means. But upright, which we have nurturing, opportunity, nature, creativity, goes hand in hand with the Empress. So it's a nice transition. All right. So the Well, the bonus card, its meaning is very important. Here, the Well represents, once again, nurturing, opportunity, creativity, and the birthplace of ideas, right? where, the Empress is very fertile. She can, a lot of times mean that, fertility, while the well is representing the birthplace of the ideas, where they kind of come from, right? And transformation. It is the source that continues to give, continues to flow. That sounds like this connection. It's so beautiful, right? Spirit is showing that this connection is not surface level. That's why it couldn't be disrupted by the King of Swords in reverse, or the Four of Wands in reverse energy. And that's the Tower moment wasn't for you, rooted and rising. It was for the interferer, right? Yeah. It can't be disrupted. It's so beautiful. So anyway, so even with outside interference, the connection itself has tremendous depth. It has a source, which is the well. Oh, yes. It has something that continues to grow and evolve. This is not something that can be easily disrupted. It's a divine connection because it's being built from a deeper place. The well runs deep, right? I love that card. Anyway, I'll move on because I've been long enough on this. And truth be told, I am at work, so I need to move it up long because my break is about over. So anyway, we move along to a card that moves, the Eight of Wands. We know that's that quick movement. Movement continues despite interference. This is an unstoppable connection. The Eight of Wands represents fast movement, communication, and forward momentum. This is things progressing quickly because once it gets off the ground, once the communication starts in the physical, this is something that takes off. Not erratically. Not the one that's full of passion is there, no mistake. To me, you can't have this kind of connection without passion. Who wants a passionless connection? Come on. Where's the fun in that? Where's the fun without the passion, without the love making? But anyway, it's still rooted. It's still grounded and stable. The Pentacles energy, right? Earth energy stable. Passion is there. And it moves quickly. But not erratically, not silly, not foolishness, not like that. Very grounded energy, but very quick moving once things do move. It means you're on the same page, so you can move quickly. You can make decisions quickly. You can ground things and build things quickly. That's all. Very quick, unhindered at that movement. That's why it moves quickly. It's unhindered. It doesn't matter that whatever's trying to come on in between there, it moves quickly because it's moving unhindered. There's basically nothing is stopping it. Obstacles falling all in the way. It's like a hurdler. They're running and hurdling, right? You've seen people who hurdle. It's almost like no obstacle. I used to hurdle back, even though I'm short, back in the day, I used to hurdle. I used to run track. I was a sprinter. Off the topic once again. But those who hurdle, it's like hurdle. You see them moving despite the obstacles, okay? So things are happening. The interference does not stop the movement. It's going. Messages are still being exchanged. Energy is still flowing. The connection is still progressing. Even if there are moments of distraction or outside noise, the direction does not change. The love doesn't either. It deepens. Like I said, passion is there. Oh, the passion between you two. It's going to be lovely because it's a deep connection. So, better stop. So things are felt very deeply. Oh, my Lord. It don't take but a second to get me off here going. But anyway, I won't go into that. Judgment. It's the next card. The final realization about who belongs and again, who does not. Judgment represents awakening, realization, and final decision, okay? This is where everything is seen clearly and a choice is made. This is the moment where someone fully understands what this connection is and what the past was. So this is where your divine counterpart understands fully what this connection is and what the past was, past tense. All right, there's no confusion left here. This is This is the kind of clarity that says, I know exactly where I stand now, all right, and who I stand with. Okay, and we'll move on to strength. I was speeding it up because I know I need to go. Moving on, strength. Choosing the connection with inner control. Strength represents inner power, patience, emotional control, and choosing with intention rather than impulse. This is not reactive energy. This is someone who sees everything clearly and still chooses calmly, steadily, and intentionally. This is not being pulled back by the past, right? Remember, everything they're doing, it may have some distraction in it, but it doesn't last long. And once again, they're solidifying who they really are. And it's being shown clear that this person was never who they presented themselves to be. It was all a mask, all right? This may be something that they wanted to be, or something that they wanted the world to see them as, but this is something they never were. All right. So again, this is not being pulled back by the past. This is standing firm in the present. Yep, standing firm with you rooted and rising. All right. And then we move on to the high priestess, trusting what is known without the outside noise. The high priestess represents intuition, inner knowing, and truth that is felt rather than spoken. This is where someone does not need outside validation. They already intuitively know. And even with interference, they are not confused. They are not thrown off. They are not questioning what they feel. They trust it. They know that, okay, that's a bunch of nonsense, all right? Like, I've dealt with you enough to know your nonsense, all right? Just like the disturber knows the divine counterpart, well, the divine counterpart knows the disturber. Like, I've dealt with your nonsense enough to know what it is, which is why we are not what we were, okay? All right, they're not questioning again what they feel. They trust it. All right, and then we move to our last card, the Lovers. The choice is made and the connection stands. The Lovers represents union, alignment, right? And most importantly, choice, an aligned choice, right? And this is where everything lands, because after everything, the interference, the past, the attempts to disrupt, the choice is still made, rooted and rising. They still choose the divine connection. And the choice is not based on any confusion. They don't have confusion at all. It's based on clarity, truth, and alignment. All right? And that's a beautiful thing. So, what this reading really brings into focus is not that everything shows up, not that everything that kind of like pops up is meant to stop something. All right? Sometimes it's there to reveal what no longer belongs, right? That's that tower moment. It just revealed more of what that was. All right? And the truth of the matter of what the divine connection is and who you are, rooted and rising, right? So sometimes the obstacles comes to reveal what no longer belongs and actually brings you together, much closer together. Because when something real begins to form, anything that is not aligned with it will naturally surface. It'll come up, and not to take it down, but to show itself clearly for what it is. And then you've kind of dealt with it and you can move on, right? Just like before you guys came together, likely, not always, likely all hell broke loose in your life. All of those things that you needed to deal with popped up so you could deal with them, because you two couldn't come together, but it's still there, right? Something had to end within you. Something had to end within past connections. You had to get rid of a lot of stuff before you could even come together. So this is that same energy. Something's popping up now that you're together for you to clear it all out of the way, right? Deal with it and move on. And it builds the connection. It makes it stronger, brings you together. It reveals what does not belong. All right, who does not belong and what you will and will not tolerate together or should not All right. So that's what's happening here. The outside energy may try to speak, try to insert themselves, try to create a moment of disruption, but it cannot become what it was before, because that had to end. Because too much has already been seen, understood, and released. And they were released 2 readings ago. You know, that 10 of Wands, that carrying that heavy load, it showed that, you know, you were likely carrying the load. The divine counterparts were carrying the relationship, and it was a heavy load. I know I had to let mine go. So I'm not saying that was for everybody. I'm just saying I had to let it go. It was a heavy load. You were doing all the work, and you were carrying everything. You were making it happen. You were doing everything, and it was tiring, right? And it's like, oh, nope, can't do this anymore, right? Can't physically do it anymore. Can't mentally do it anymore. Can't emotionally do it anymore. All right. So again, outside energy may try to speak, insert themselves, try to create a moment of disruption, but it cannot become what it was before. You put that load down, and the Fool energy came out, looking ahead and ready to go on that new journey, ready for what was next. All right, because too much had already been seen, understood, and released, and then you have grown, right? So what you're witnessing is not a threat to the connection. Actually, it's just going to reinforce it, actually. It's the final clearing of what cannot move forward with it. What can't move on with it. And through all of that, excuse me, what's meant to build continues to build. All right? So, as always, stay rooted, stay rising, and aligned with all the divine gifts ahead.